Why did you disappear? April's voice echoed through the luxurious reception area, shattering the corporate silence. Her voice trembled, oscillating between fury and pain as she stared at the man before her. The man she hadn't seen in 7 years. The man who had abandoned her pregnant. The billionaire Adam Vigil, CEO of Movie and Tech Solutions. April's hands tightened protectively around her daughter's hand. Rose, only 6 years old, looked confused between her mother and the man in the expensive suit who was staring at her with blue eyes identical to her own. "April, wait." Adam tried to approach, but she took a step back. "You disappeared. You blocked me. You made it crystal clear you didn't want anything to do with me." Each word was an accusation, each syllable loaded with years of pain and solitary struggle. "What? I blocked you? April, you vanished. I tried to find you for months." The reception of the luxurious skyscraper fell silent. The other job candidates watched the scene with morbid curiosity. How did this woman in worn-out clothes know the billionaire CEO? And who was that blonde little girl who had the same piercing blue eyes as Adam Vigil? Adam's gaze dropped to Rose again, studying every feature of her little face, the shape of her face, the hair color, those blue eyes impossible to ignore. His heart raced with a certainty that shook his very foundations. "Is she?" He couldn't complete the question, his voice failing. "No." April answered too quickly, defensively. "It's none of your business." But they both knew the truth. And in that moment, 7 years of secrets, lies, and broken hearts were about to come to light. Because April Lockhart hadn't just come for a job interview. She had come for a reunion with destiny, and nothing would ever be the same again. Before we continue with the story, tell us where you're watching from and how old you are. I hope you enjoy the story. The alarm clock buzzed at 5:30 in the morning, piercing through the thin walls of the cramped apartment in Aurora, a suburb on the outskirts of Denver. April Lockhart opened her eyes, staring at the water-stained ceiling above her bed. She didn't need an alarm anymore. Her body had learned to wake up before it rang, trained by 3 months of anxiety and sleepless nights. She lay there for a moment, listening to the sounds of the building coming alive. Mrs. Patterson upstairs was already shuffling around in her slippers. Someone's television was playing too loud. A baby cried 2 doors down. These were the sounds of survival, of people just barely making it, and April had become intimately familiar with every one of them. With a deep breath that did nothing to ease the tightness in her chest, April swung her legs out of bed. The hardwood floor was cold beneath her feet. She'd sold the bedroom rug 2 weeks ago at a yard sale for $15. It had bought groceries for 3 days. She walked quietly to the small kitchen, careful not to wake Rose yet. Her daughter deserved a few more minutes of peace, a few more minutes of dreams where money didn't matter and Mommy wasn't scared all the time. The kitchen was barely large enough for one person. April opened the refrigerator and stared at its sparse contents. 2 eggs, a half-gallon of milk that would expire tomorrow, some wilted lettuce, a jar of grape jelly. Her stomach twisted with familiar guilt and shame. On the counter, arranged in a neat but devastating pile, were the bills. Rent notice, final notice actually, bright red letters that screamed at her every time she walked past. Electric bill, water bill, Rose's school supply list for the upcoming year. The medical bill from when Rose had strep throat last month. The credit card statement she couldn't even bear to open anymore. April picked up the rent notice with shaking hands. $1,400, due 3 days ago. Mr. Henderson, the landlord, had been patient, but his patience was wearing thin. He'd told her yesterday that if she didn't have the money by the end of the week, he'd have no choice but to start eviction proceedings. She set the notice down carefully as if it might explode, and walked to the small living room. The apartment was modest but clean. She'd made sure of that. No matter how poor they were, April maintained their dignity through cleanliness and order. The furniture was second-hand, the couch sagging in the middle, but everything was tidy. Rose's drawings covered the refrigerator and one wall, a gallery of childish art that brought the only real color into their lives. April noticed one new drawing, done yesterday while she'd been frantically searching job websites. It showed 3 stick figures, one tall with brown hair, one medium with yellow hair, and one small with yellow hair. The tall figure had a question mark for a face. Underneath, in Rose's careful printing, "My family. I wish I knew my daddy." The words pierced April's heart like they did every single time Rose mentioned her father. And she mentioned him often. 6-year-olds at school talked about their daddies. They brought their fathers for show and tell, for father-daughter dances, for soccer games. Rose had no one, only April, who tried desperately to be enough but knew she wasn't. Adam Vigil. The name still made April's chest ache even after 7 years. 7 years since that one incredible, impossible night that had changed everything. 7 years since she'd woken up alone in that hotel room, with nothing but a note that said, "You're amazing. I'll call you." 7 years since she'd tried desperately to reach him, only to be met with silence, blocked numbers, and eventually, a crushing message that told her to stop trying, that it had just been one night and nothing more. 7 years of believing she'd been nothing but a mistake to him. 7 years of raising their daughter alone, of poverty and struggle, of wondering what she'd done wrong, of hating him and missing him in equal measure. April shook her head, forcing the memories away. They didn't help. They never helped. She had to focus on today, on survival, on keeping a roof over Rose's head. She made coffee with the last of the grounds, watering it down to make it stretch. As she sipped the weak, bitter liquid, she opened her laptop, the screen flickering as it always did now. The battery was dying. She couldn't afford to replace it. She scrolled through job listings, the same ones she'd looked at yesterday and the day before. Most required experience she didn't have or education she couldn't afford. She'd been a retail manager before the store closed. It didn't translate to much in the corporate world. Then she saw it. A new posting just uploaded an hour ago. Movie and Tech Solutions seeks receptionist, immediate hire, competitive salary, full benefits. Interviews today, 2 p.m., walk-ins, welcome. Professional appearance required. April's heart began to race. The salary listed was enough. More than enough. It would cover rent, bills, food, everything. It was a lifeline thrown to a drowning woman. She read the listing 3 times, looking for the catch but couldn't find one. Movie and Tech Solutions. She'd heard of them. Everyone in Denver had. They were one of the biggest tech companies in the state, a billion-dollar empire that had seemingly appeared overnight. But she'd never followed business news closely enough to know who owned it. Her hands trembled as she checked the address. Downtown Denver in the financial district. She could get there. She had just enough gas money. The clock read 6:15. Rose would wake up soon. April's mind raced. The interview was at 2. Mrs. Patterson, the elderly neighbor who sometimes watched Rose for free, was sick with the flu. The community center's after-school program didn't run during summer. April had no one else, no family, no close friends. 7 years of poverty had isolated her, had forced her to pull away from everyone out of shame. She'd have to bring Rose to the interview. It was unprofessional, probably disqualifying, but she had no choice. This was her only chance. April heard the soft padding of small feet. She turned to see Rose standing in the doorway of her tiny bedroom, rubbing her eyes with one fist, her blonde hair a messy halo around her face. She wore her favorite pajamas, pink with unicorns, worn thin from countless washings. "Morning, Mommy," Rose said, her voice still thick with sleep. "Good morning, baby," April said, opening her arms. Rose ran to her and April pulled her daughter onto her lap, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo, dollar store brand, but still sweet. "Did you sleep well?" "I dreamed about unicorns," Rose said seriously. "They could fly, and they took me to a castle made of clouds. That sounds beautiful." Rose looked up at her mother with those striking blue eyes so bright and clear and full of trust. "Mommy, you look sad." "Don't be sad." April forced a smile, kissing the top of Rose's head. "I'm not sad, sweetheart. I'm just thinking." "About Daddy?" The question, so innocent, so hopeful, made April's throat tighten. "Why do you ask?" Because you always look like that when you think about him. Sad, but also, I don't know the word. Miss Emma at the library would know. Wistful, April whispered. The word is wistful. What does that mean? It means thinking about something you want but can't have. Rose was quiet for a moment, then said, I think about my daddy like that too. Do you think he ever thinks about me? God, this child. This perfect, beautiful, heartbreaking child. I don't know, baby. I honestly don't know. If we found him, would he love me? Anyone who met you would love you. You're the most lovable person in the whole world. Rose smiled, satisfied with this answer. Can I have cereal? Of course. April made breakfast, splitting the last 2 eggs between them and giving Rose the bigger portion. She watched her daughter eat, chattering about her dreams, about the book she was reading, about her friend Lily from the apartment building. Rose was happy despite everything. Children were resilient that way. After breakfast, April helped Rose get dressed. She picked out Rose's nicest outfit, the pink t-shirt with only a small stain on the hem, jeans that were getting too short but still presentable. She did Rose's hair in pigtails, making them as neat as possible. We're going on an adventure today, April explained as she worked. Mommy has a very important meeting for a possible job. A job? Does that mean we can get the big box of crayons? Rose asked hopefully. She'd been asking for the 64-pack for months. April had been putting her off with promises of someday soon. Maybe, baby. But you have to promise me you'll be very, very good today. Quiet and patient. Can you do that? I can do that. I'll bring my drawing book and be so quiet they won't even know I'm there. That's my girl. April looked at herself in the bathroom mirror as she got ready. At 31, she could see the stress written on her face, fine lines around her eyes that hadn't been there a year ago. Dark circles that makeup couldn't quite hide anymore. She'd lost weight she couldn't afford to lose, her cheekbones too sharp, her collarbones too prominent. She put on her interview outfit, the only professional clothes she owned. A white button-down blouse that she'd ironed 3 times to get the creases perfect. A gray pencil skirt from a thrift store that fit well enough. She pulled her blonde hair back in a ponytail, applied minimal makeup, and looked at herself critically. She looked tired, worn, but presentable. It would have to be enough. At 1:15, they left the apartment. April's car was a 15-year-old Honda with a dented bumper and a passenger window that didn't roll down anymore. It started on the 3rd try, as it always did. Rose was buckled in the back seat, her drawing book clutched to her chest, her little legs swinging with excitement. The drive downtown took 30 minutes. April's hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles were white. She practiced what she'd say in her head. Professional, confident, capable. She was all those things. She just needed someone to give her a chance. Denver's skyline appeared before them, glass and steel towers reaching toward the cloudless blue sky. The Vigil Tower was easy to spot, one of the tallest buildings, all gleaming windows that reflected the sunlight like diamonds. April's stomach churned as she pulled into the parking garage. Parking was $20. She counted out the bills carefully, leaving her with $11 to last until what? She pushed the thought away. They walked into the lobby at 1:50. April's worn heels clicked on the marble floor, each step echoing in the vast, expensive space. Everything was pristine, modern, clearly expensive. A massive, abstract sculpture dominated the center of the lobby. The security desk was staffed by 2 uniformed guards who looked at her and Rose with mild curiosity. Movie and Tech Solutions? April asked, trying to keep her voice steady. 30th floor, one guard said, pointing to the elevators. The elevator was mirrored on all sides. April saw herself and Rose reflected infinitely, a blonde woman and her daughter who clearly didn't belong in this world of wealth and power. Rose stared at the mirrors with delight, making faces at her reflections. "This is so fancy, Mommy," Rose whispered. "Very fancy," April agreed. The elevator rose smoothly, silently. April's ears popped. Her heart hammered. This was it. This was her chance. The 30th floor opened into another world of quiet luxury. Soft gray carpets, walls painted in soothing cream tones, abstract art that probably cost more than April made in a year back when she'd had a job. A sleek reception desk dominated the space, unmanned at the moment. Beyond it, floor-to-ceiling windows offered a breathtaking view of Denver and the Rocky Mountains in the distance. There were 6 other people waiting, all seated in modern chairs that looked uncomfortable but probably cost a fortune. 3 women, 3 men, all dressed professionally, all looking confident and qualified. April's heart sank a little. Competition. She approached a small desk where a young man sat with a tablet. "I'm here for the receptionist interview," she said quietly. "Name?" "April Lockhart." He tapped his screen. "Fill this out, please." He handed her a clipboard with an application form and a pen. April took it with trembling fingers and sat down in one of the chairs. Rose sat beside her, already opening her drawing book, her colored pencils ready. She began drawing immediately, quiet and focused as she'd promised. April started filling out the form. Name, address, previous employment, references. She wrote carefully, neatly, trying not to think about how inadequate her resume looked. She was halfway through when she heard the elevator ding. The sound made her look up, an instinct, nothing more. The doors slid open. A man stepped out, talking on his phone, his voice low and authoritative. Time stopped. April's pen slipped from her fingers, clattering to the floor. The man was tall, well over 6 feet, with perfectly styled chestnut brown hair and a precisely trimmed beard that made him look distinguished and powerful. He wore a black suit that was clearly custom-tailored, the kind of suit that cost thousands of dollars. A gold Rolex gleamed on his wrist. His blue eyes were focused on whoever he was talking to, sharp and intense. Those eyes. God, those eyes. She'd seen them every day for 7 years, every time she looked at her daughter. Adam Vigil, Adam. Here. Now. After 7 years of silence, of absence, of believing he wanted nothing to do with her. Adam. The owner of Movie and Tech Solutions, the CEO. The billionaire whose face she'd seen on business magazines at the grocery store checkout but had never connected to her Adam. Her one night, her Rose's father. April couldn't breathe. Her vision tunneled. The application fell from her lap. Adam was walking toward the hallway, still on his phone, still oblivious. But then he paused. He turned almost absently, as if something had caught his attention. His eyes swept the waiting area and landed on April. The phone slipped in his hand. He caught it, fumbled it, nearly dropped it. His face went completely white, then flushed with color. "I'll call you back," he said into the phone, his voice strange, strangled. He didn't wait for a response. He ended the call, still staring at April. April? The name came out like a prayer, like a curse, like a question that held 7 years of confusion. April stood up on shaking legs. Her mouth was dry. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Adam. The other candidates watched with open curiosity. The tension in the air was palpable, electric, dangerous. Adam took a step toward her, then stopped, as if afraid he might be seeing a ghost. You're really here. I'm not. This isn't. I'm here, April whispered. I'm real. His eyes moved then, dropping from her face, scanning the chairs and landing on Rose. April watched as the color drained from his face again. Adam stared at Rose the way people stare at miracles or disasters, with shock so profound it transcends language. Rose looked up from her drawing, aware she was being watched. She met Adam's gaze with innocent curiosity, those bright blue eyes, mirrors of his own, blinking up at him. "Hi," Rose said politely. "I'm Rose, I'm 6. Adam's mouth opened. No sound came out. He looked from Rose to April, then back to Rose, his eyes tracing every feature of her face. The blonde hair, the shape of her face, the small nose, the full lips, but mostly those eyes. His eyes. He couldn't finish. April, is she? April's defenses slammed into place, hardened by 7 years of abandonment, of raising Rose alone, of struggling and suffering while he lived in luxury. She's mine, April said, her voice cold and hard. She's none of your business. April, wait. No. The word came out sharp, cutting. You don't get to wait. You don't get to question. You gave up that right when you blocked my number and told me to stop contacting you. Adam looked like she'd slapped him. What? April, I don't understand. I tried to find you for months. I looked for you. Don't lie to me, April said, her voice breaking despite her anger. I called you. I texted you. I emailed you 20 times, 30 times, and you sent me one message telling me to leave you alone, that it was just one night, that I meant nothing. I never sent that message. April, I swear to God, I never. He ran a hand through his hair, destroying its perfection. When you disappeared, I hired a private investigator. I thought something had happened to you. I thought. They stared at each other across the elegant waiting room, 7 years of miscommunication and pain between them, neither understanding, both hurt, both angry. Rose watched them with wide eyes, her drawing forgotten. Mommy? Who is this man? Before April could answer, the elevator dinged again. Both April and Adam turned automatically, some spell broken by the sound. A woman stepped out. She was stunning in the way that came from wealth and effort, dark hair that fell in perfect waves to her shoulders, designer suit in deep burgundy that probably cost more than April's car, heels so high April couldn't imagine walking in them. Her makeup was flawless, her jewelry understated but clearly expensive. Her brown eyes swept the room and landed on April, and for just a fraction of a second something flickered across her face. Recognition, alarm, calculation. Then it was gone, replaced by a smooth, professional smile. Adam, darling, she said, walking toward him with confident, measured steps. The meeting with the Japanese investors starts in 10 minutes. We need to review the final presentations. She touched his arm, a possessive gesture that made April's stomach twist. This was Olivia Bryant, though April didn't know her name yet. What April did know, immediately and viscerally, was that this woman wanted Adam, that she considered him hers. Olivia, not now, Adam said, not taking his eyes off April. But the meeting. Olivia looked more carefully at April, her eyes taking in the worn shoes, the thrift store skirt, the way April's hand had moved protectively to Rose's shoulder. Oh, you're one of the receptionist candidates? Her tone made it clear what she thought of that. Adam, darling, you know HR handles these interviews. You certainly don't need to be involved with entry-level hiring. The dismissal in her voice, the subtle sneer, made April's face burn with humiliation. She grabbed her purse. This was a mistake. Come on, Rose, we're leaving. No, Adam said sharply. April, please. You came here for an interview. You'll have your interview. I don't need your charity. It's not charity. I need a receptionist. You need a job. That's business. Mommy, please, Rose whispered, tugging on April's hand. You said we needed this. April looked down at her daughter, at those trusting blue eyes, and felt her resolve crumble. They did need this. Desperately. Her pride couldn't feed Rose. Her anger couldn't keep a roof over their heads. Fine, she said quietly. I'll do the interview. Good. Adam turned to Olivia. Handle the Japanese investors. I'll join you in 20 minutes. But Adam, 20 minutes, Olivia. Olivia's smile tightened, but she nodded. She left, but not before casting one more look at April, and this time April saw it clearly. Hatred. Pure, cold hatred. Adam turned to the young man at the desk. Brian, clear the rest of my morning. I'll be conducting this interview personally. Yes, Mr. Vigil. The other candidates looked at each other, confused. One brave woman raised her hand. Mr. Vigil, will you be interviewing all of us? No, Adam said without looking at her. Just Ms. Lockhart. The rest of you will be contacted by HR. Thank you for coming." Dismissed, the others gathered their things and left, casting curious glances at April as they went. When the elevator doors closed on the last one, April found herself alone with Adam and Rose in the quiet, expensive waiting room. "My office is this way," Adam said, his voice carefully neutral. April took Rose's hand and followed him down a hallway. The walls were decorated with awards and framed articles. "Movie and Tech Revolutionizes Cloud Computing." Adam Vigil, billionaire at 30. Forbes, 30 under 30. The new face of technology. His office was at the end of the hall, a massive space with glass walls that offered panoramic views of Denver. The furniture was modern and sleek. A desk that looked like a piece of art. Bookshelves filled with technical manuals and business books. Framed photographs of Adam shaking hands with famous people, accepting awards, speaking at conferences. But what caught April's attention was a small frame on his desk, turned away from the door. She couldn't see what was in it. "Please sit," Adam said, gesturing to 2 chairs across from his desk. April sat. Rose climbed into the chair next to her, still clutching her drawing book, looking around with wide eyes at the office that was bigger than their entire apartment. Adam sat behind his desk but didn't relax. He leaned forward, his hands clasped, his blue eyes intense on April's face. "Before we discuss the job, we need to talk about—" "No," April interrupted. "If this is a real interview, then we discuss the job. Nothing else." "April, that child, my daughter is off limits, do you understand? Completely off limits." Adam's jaw clenched, a muscle ticking. "Fine, for now. But April, the job, Adam, just the job." He stared at her for a long moment, and April could see the war happening behind his eyes. Finally, he nodded curtly and opened a folder on his desk. "Walk me through your work history." April did, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. She explained her experience in retail management, her customer service skills, her organizational abilities. She left out the parts about being desperate, about the eviction notice, about having $11 left to her name. Adam listened, occasionally making notes on a legal pad. His eyes kept drifting to Rose, who was drawing quietly, perfectly behaved as she'd promised. Each time he looked at her, his expression shifted, becoming softer, more awed, more pained. "Your last position ended 3 months ago," Adam said. "Why such a long gap in employment?" "The store closed unexpectedly. I've been applying to positions but haven't found the right fit. And you chose to bring your daughter to this interview because—" April's spine stiffened. "Because I had no other option. My usual childcare fell through. I understand it's unprofessional, but I'm a single mother. Sometimes we have to make choices that aren't ideal. I'm not criticizing. I'm trying to understand your situation. My situation is that I need this job. I'm qualified, I'm reliable, and I'm willing to work whatever hours you need. I learn fast and I work hard. That's all you need to know. What about Rose? What will you do with her when you're working?" "I'll figure it out. That's my problem, not yours." Adam set down his pen. "April, I need to know—" "Is she yours?" April said, her voice suddenly fierce. "Is that what you want to ask? Fine. No. She's not yours. You're not her father. You have no claim to her. Can we move on now?" Adam's face went very still. "You're lying." "Excuse me?" "Look at her. Look at her eyes, April. They're my eyes. Look at her face. I can see myself in her. That's circumstantial. Lots of people have blue eyes." "April, for God's sake. You wanted nothing to do with me." The words exploded out of April. 7 years of pain erupting. "You slept with me, left me a goddamn note like I was some one-night stand, and then you blocked me when I tried to tell you." She stopped herself, aware of Rose listening, of little ears hearing too much. "Tell me what?" Adam's voice was quiet, intense. "What were you trying to tell me?" April looked at Rose, who was watching them both with confusion and something that might have been hope. She couldn't do this. Not here. Not now. not with Rose listening. Nothing. It doesn't matter now. The hell it doesn't. Mr. Vigil, with all due respect, either give me this job or don't, but stop interrogating me about my personal life. Adam stood abruptly, pacing to the window. He stood there for a long moment, his broad shoulders tense, his hands shoved in his pockets. April could see his reflection in the glass, could see the storm of emotions on his face. When he turned back, his expression was carefully controlled, back to CEO mode. The position pays $65,000 annually, full benefits, 3 weeks vacation, sick leave, and there's an on-site daycare for employees' children. April's breath caught. $65,000. It was more than she'd made as a manager. It was salvation. An on-site daycare? On the 15th floor. It's free for employees. Rose would be well cared for. The staff is excellent. Why are you doing this? Because I need a receptionist, and you're qualified. That's the only reason? Adam looked at her, really looked at her, and April saw the truth in his eyes. No. But it's the only reason you'll accept right now. He was right. April nodded slowly. When would I start? Tomorrow, if you can. I can. Then the job is yours. Adam walked back to his desk and pulled out a folder. These are the employment forms. Fill them out and return them to HR on the 28th floor before you leave today. Your start time is 8 a.m. Dress code is business casual. Any questions? No, sir. Something flickered across Adam's face at the formal address, but he didn't comment. He looked at Rose. Welcome to Movie and Tech, Rose. Rose beamed at him. Thank you. Your building is very pretty. I drew a picture of it. She held up her drawing book, showing a childish but recognizable sketch of the tower. Adam's face softened completely. He came around the desk and knelt down to Rose's level, bringing himself eye to eye with her. That's beautiful. You're very talented. My mommy says I get my art skills from my daddy, but I don't know my daddy. Do you know your daddy? The innocent question hit like a bomb. Adam's eyes went bright with emotion. His voice was rough when he answered. I did. He died when I was young. I wish I'd known him better. That's sad. I'm sorry. Thank you, Rose. Adam paused, then asked carefully, What do you know about your daddy? Rose shrugged. Not much. Mommy doesn't like to talk about him. She gets sad. But I think he must have blue eyes like me, and probably blonde hair like Mommy. And I hope he's nice. Is he nice, Mommy? April's throat was so tight she could barely speak. I think he could be. If he tried. Adam looked up at April, and the raw pain in his eyes made her chest ache. I want to try, he said quietly. Whatever I did, whatever happened, I want to make it right. Some things can't be made right. Let me try anyway. Before April could respond, there was a knock on the door. Olivia entered without waiting for permission, her smile bright and fake. Adam, darling, the investors are getting restless. We really need you. Adam stood, and April saw the transformation. The emotion drained from his face, replaced by cool professionalism. I'm coming. He turned to April. Fill out those forms. If you have any questions, Brian at the front desk can help you. I'll see you tomorrow morning. It was a dismissal. April stood, gathering Rose and the folder of forms. Thank you, Mr. Vigil. As they walked to the door, Adam said, April. She turned. I never sent you a message telling you to leave me alone. I swear on everything I have, I never sent that message. April didn't know what to say. She left, pulling Rose with her, feeling Adam's eyes on her back until the door closed behind them. In the elevator, Rose said, I like him, Mommy. He has nice eyes. They look like mine. Yeah, baby, April whispered. They do. April spent an hour in the HR department filling out forms, providing identification, setting up direct deposit. Rose sat quietly the entire time, sensing her mother needed her to be good. When they finally left the building, the sun was setting. painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. In the car, April gripped the steering wheel and cried. She cried for the girl she'd been 7 years ago, full of hope and possibility. She cried for the woman she'd become, hardened by struggle and disappointment. She cried for Rose, who'd never known her father. And she cried for Adam, because the pain in his eyes when he'd looked at Rose had been real, and it had shaken everything April believed about him. "Mommy, why are you sad?" Rose asked from the back seat. "You got the job. That's good, right?" "It's very good, sweetheart. These are happy tears." "Oh, okay." Rose paused. "Mommy, was that man my daddy?" April's hands tightened on the wheel. "What makes you ask that?" "Because he looked at me the way you said my daddy would look at me if he ever met me, like I was the most special thing in the world." April's breath shuddered. "Yeah, baby, that was your daddy." "I knew it," Rose sounded triumphant. "I knew it because of the eyes. Does this mean we get to see him again?" "I'm going to be working there, so yes, probably." "Does he know he's my daddy?" "I think he's starting to figure it out." "Good," Rose said, satisfied. "I want him to know. I want him to love me." "Oh, baby," April whispered. "Anyone who knows you loves you." When they got home, April paid 2 months' rent with her phone, using a payment plan option HR had mentioned. She'd get her first paycheck in 2 weeks, and there was a small signing bonus that would direct deposit in 3 days. For the first time in months, April could breathe. She made dinner, just mac and cheese from a box, but Rose ate happily. After dinner, Rose drew more pictures while April sat at the kitchen table, thinking about everything that had happened. Adam had said he never sent that message. He'd said he looked for her. If that was true, then what did it mean? Who had sent that message? And why? April pulled out her old phone, the one she'd used 7 years ago. She'd kept it, unable to throw it away despite upgrading twice since then. She turned it on, waiting for it to boot up, and navigated to her old messages. There it was, the number she'd tried to reach 100 times, and the one message she'd received. "April, this is getting pathetic. It was one night. Great sex, sure, but nothing more. Adam made it clear he's not interested in hearing from you again. Please stop trying to contact him. You're embarrassing yourself." The message had come from a different number, not Adam's. April had assumed it was sent on his behalf, maybe from an assistant or friend. But what if it wasn't? What if someone else had sent it? But who? And why? April put the phone away, her mind spinning. Tomorrow she'd start her new job. Tomorrow she'd see Adam again. Tomorrow, maybe, she'd start getting answers. She put Rose to bed at 8, reading her favorite story about a princess who didn't need a prince because she was strong enough to save herself. Rose fell asleep with a smile on her face, probably dreaming of unicorns and castles and now a daddy with blue eyes like hers. April lay in her own bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Adam's face when he'd looked at Rose. The wonder, the pain, the immediate instinctive recognition. She'd seen fathers meet their children before. She'd seen that look. And Adam had worn it like he'd been punched in the chest. What if he was telling the truth? What if he really hadn't known? April fell asleep with the question unanswered and dreamed of a hotel room 7 years ago, of brown hair and blue eyes and gentle hands, of whispered words and morning light, of possibility and hope before everything had fallen apart. The next morning, April woke with purpose. She dressed carefully in the same interview outfit, wishing she had more professional clothes. She'd have to use her first paycheck to buy more. Rose wore her school clothes, excited about the daycare. They arrived at Vigil Tower at 7:45. The daycare on the 15th floor was bright and cheerful, full of toys and books and smiling staff. Rose was nervous at first, clinging to April's hand. But a kind woman named Jessica showed her the art corner and Rose's resistance melted. "She'll be fine," Jessica assured April. "We'll take good care of her. If she needs me, we'll call immediately, but honestly, she's going to have a great day." April kissed Rose goodbye and took the elevator to the 30th floor. Brian greeted her with a smile and spent the first hour training her on the phone system, the appointment scheduling software, and the general flow of the office. The reception desk was positioned with a perfect view of the elevators and the main hallway. Within an hour, April understood the rhythm of the office. Executives arriving with coffee and briefcases, assistants rushing past with files and tablets, delivery people bringing packages and flowers, and every so often Adam striding past with that aura of power and purpose that made everyone straighten their spines. He didn't stop to talk to her, didn't even look at her as far as April could tell. It hurt more than she wanted to admit. At 10, Olivia Bryant swept past, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. She paused at the reception desk, looking April up and down with cold assessment. "So you're the new receptionist," Olivia said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, ma'am." "How quaint. You know, we had some very qualified candidates. I was surprised when Adam chose you." Her smile was sharp as glass. "But then I suppose he has his reasons." "I'm qualified," April said evenly. "Of course, I'm sure your prior relationship had nothing to do with his decision." April's spine stiffened. "I don't know what you mean." "Don't you? Come now, let's not play games. It's obvious there's history between you and Adam. I saw the way you looked at each other yesterday." Olivia leaned closer, her voice dropping. "But let me be very clear about something. Adam is mine. We've been together for 8 months and we're quite serious. I understand that you and he had some juvenile fling years ago, but that's all it was. Ancient history. If you're here thinking you can rekindle something, you're wasting your time. I'm here to work, Ms. Bryant, nothing more." "Good. Keep it that way." Olivia straightened. "And that daughter of yours? It's generous of Adam to allow you to use the company daycare, but do make sure she doesn't cause any disruptions. This is a professional environment. Rose is a very well-behaved child." "I'm sure." Olivia's tone said she wasn't sure at all. "Welcome to Movie and Tech, April. I do hope you'll be happy here. Though between you and me, these entry-level positions tend to have high turnover. Don't get too comfortable." She walked away, leaving April shaking with anger. The threat had been clear. Olivia wanted her gone. The rest of the day passed in a blur of phone calls, deliveries, and visitors. April threw herself into the work, determined to prove she belonged here on merit, not charity. She was good at her job. She'd always been good with people, at organizing, at managing chaos. At noon, Brian told her to take lunch. April went down to the 15th floor to check on Rose. She found her daughter in the middle of a group of children, laughing and playing with blocks. Rose's face lit up when she saw April. "Mommy, look what I built. It's a castle." "It's beautiful, baby. Jessica says we get snacks soon, and then we're going to paint. Mommy, can I stay forever?" April laughed despite herself. "You'll be here every day while I work. That's kind of like forever." After confirming Rose was happy, April went back upstairs. She'd brought a sandwich from home and ate it at her desk, watching the city below, thinking about how strange life could be. Yesterday she'd been facing eviction. Today she was working in a billion-dollar company. Her daughter was happy, and her daughter's father was somewhere in this building, probably as confused as she was. At 2, Adam came through the lobby with a group of men in suits. April recognized them from the news, the Japanese investors he'd mentioned. Adam was explaining something, his hands gesturing, his face animated. He looked powerful, confident, completely in his element. As he passed the desk, his eyes flicked to April for just a second. Their gazes met and held. Then he was past, leaving April with a racing heart and shaking hands. At 3, April's phone rang, an internal call from Adam's office. "April, Lockhart speaking." "April, it's Adam." His voice, even through the phone, made her stomach flip. "Can you come to my office, please?" "Is something wrong?" "No, I just need to speak with you." "I'll be right there." April told Brian where she was going and walked down the hallway to Adam's office. She knocked. "Come in." Adam was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out at the city. He turned when she entered. He'd taken off his suit jacket. His white shirt was perfectly pressed, his tie loose. He looked tired, she realized. There were dark circles under his eyes that matched her own. "Close the door, please." April did, her heart pounding. "You wanted to see me?" "I need to know the truth, April, and I think, after everything, I deserve it." "The truth about what?" "Rose." He said her name carefully, like it was precious. "Is she my daughter?" April met his eyes. She could lie, she could keep denying it. But looking at him now, at the raw hope and fear in his face, she couldn't. She was tired of lying. "Why would it matter?" she asked instead. "Why would—" Adam looked stunned. "April, if I have a daughter, if I've had a daughter for 6 years and didn't know, that matters more than anything. You said you didn't want to know. That message, I didn't send that message." Adam's voice rose, then he controlled it, taking a breath. "I swear to you, April, I didn't send it. I didn't block you. I never told anyone to tell you to stop contacting me." "Then who did?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." He moved closer to her. "Please, April, I'm begging you. Tell me the truth. Is Rose mine?" April felt tears prickling her eyes. She looked away, unable to maintain his gaze. "Yes," she whispered. "She's yours." The sound Adam made was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "I knew it. The moment I saw her, I knew." He ran a hand through his hair. "Why didn't you tell me yesterday? Why keep denying it?" "Because you abandoned us," the words burst out. "Because I was 19 and pregnant and terrified, and I tried to tell you, and you didn't care. Because I've spent 7 years raising her alone, struggling, barely surviving while you lived in luxury. Because you don't get to just walk into her life now and play daddy." "I didn't know. April, I swear on everything, I didn't know." "How can I believe you?" "Because I'm telling you the truth." Adam's eyes were bright with unshed tears. "I don't know what happened. I don't know who sent that message or why. But I never would have abandoned you or my child, never." "Then where were you?" "I called your old number 100 times. I changed my number. The company was taking off. I was getting calls at all hours. I changed it and only gave it to close friends and business contacts. But April, if you'd reached out on social media or sent a letter to my office or... I tried everything, every method I could think of, and all I got was silence." They stared at each other, both breathing hard, both hurting. "Someone didn't want us to connect," Adam said slowly. "Someone deliberately kept us apart." "Who would do that?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." April wiped her eyes. "It doesn't matter now. It's done." "It's not done. April, I have a daughter. A 6-year-old daughter who I've never held, never read a bedtime story to, never taken to the park. That's not done. That's just beginning. She doesn't know you. Then I'll get to know her, if you'll let me." April looked at him, really looked at him. The expensive suit couldn't hide the emotion in his eyes. The power and wealth couldn't mask the vulnerability. This was Adam, the man she'd spent one incredible night with 7 years ago, the man who'd held her gently and whispered that she was beautiful, the man she'd half fallen in love with in just a few hours. "She asks about you," April said quietly. "All the time. She draws pictures of what she thinks you look like. She talks to other kids about their daddies and comes home sad because she doesn't have one. She deserves to know her father. Then let me be her father, please. I don't know if I can trust you. Then don't, not yet. But give me a chance to earn it." April thought about Rose's face when she'd met Adam, the instant recognition, the hope in her eyes. "Okay," she said finally, "but slowly. We do this on my terms." "Absolutely, whatever you want. I'll think about how to tell her, how to introduce you properly. She can't just find out her father is suddenly in her life with no explanation." "Of course. I'll follow your lead. And Adam, if you hurt her, if you disappoint her or let her down, I will make you regret it. I don't care how rich you are or how powerful. She's my whole world. She's my world too, Adam said softly. I just didn't know she existed. There was a knock on the door. Olivia opened it without waiting. Adam, the Nakamoto contract needs your... She stopped, seeing April. Her eyes narrowed. Oh, am I interrupting? Yes, Adam said shortly. I'll deal with the contract in 20 minutes. But 20 minutes, Olivia. Olivia's jaw tightened. She looked between Adam and April saw the calculation in her eyes, the suspicion, the jealousy. Of course, darling. 20 minutes. She left, closing the door sharply behind her. Your girlfriend doesn't like me, April observed. Adam winced. Olivia and I... It's complicated. Complicated how? Are you with her or not? We've been seeing each other for about 8 months, but April, it's not serious. Not like what? Not like what I felt for you. April's breath caught. Adam, that was one night 7 years ago. It was the best night of my life, and when you disappeared, it nearly destroyed me. I threw myself into building this company to forget you. It didn't work. Don't, April whispered. Don't say things like that. Why not? It's true. Because I can't. Adam, I have Rose to think about. I can't get caught up in feelings and chemistry and things that don't matter. I need stability. I need to know that whatever happens between us, it won't hurt her. I would never hurt her. Or you. You already did. Even if it wasn't your fault, even if someone else caused it, the result is the same. I spent 7 years believing you didn't want us. That pain doesn't just go away. Adam nodded slowly. You're right. And I understand if you hate me. But April, I want to be in Rose's life. I want to be her father. And I want to figure out what happened. Who sent that message? Who kept us apart? Because someone did this deliberately, and I need to know who and why. How will you find out? I have resources, money, connections. If there's a trail, I'll find it. And in the meantime, I get to know my daughter, if you'll let me. April looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, but slowly, Adam. 1 step at a time. 1 step at a time, he agreed. April returned to her desk, her mind whirling. She'd told him. After 7 years of secrets, Adam knew about Rose. And instead of feeling relieved, April felt terrified. Because now everything would change. Now Rose would have a father. Now their simple, struggling life would intersect with Adam's world of wealth and power. And April had no idea how to navigate that. She picked up Rose from daycare at 5:30. Rose chattered nonstop about her day, about the friends she'd made, about the pictures she'd painted. April listened, grateful for the distraction. At home, while making dinner, April's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Adam. Brian gave me your number. I hope that's okay. I wanted to say thank you for telling me the truth. And to say goodnight to Rose if you're willing to share this number with her. No pressure, just when you're ready. April stared at the message for a long time. Then she saved the number under Adam, Rose's dad, and put the phone away. Not tonight. She needed time to figure out how to explain this to Rose properly. 1 step at a time, as Adam had promised. But that night, as she lay in bed, April's phone buzzed again. Another text from Adam. I found something. We need to talk. Privately. Can we meet tomorrow after work? I can watch Rose if that helps. Or we can meet somewhere. It's important. April's hands trembled as she typed back. What did you find? Not something I can text. Tomorrow? April hesitated, then replied. Okay, tomorrow. She didn't sleep well that night. Her mind kept spinning, wondering what Adam had discovered. Who had sent that message? Who would want to keep them apart? And why? The next day at work, April could barely concentrate. She kept glancing down the hallway toward Adam's office, wondering what he knew. But Adam didn't come to the reception area. He was in meetings all day according to his calendar that April could see on the computer system. At 4, Olivia appeared. She leaned against the reception desk, her smile sharp. "So, April, how are you settling in?" "Very well, thank you." "Good, good. You know, I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday, about history and relationships." Olivia's voice was casual, but her eyes were calculating. "It must have been quite a surprise for you seeing Adam again after all these years." "It was unexpected." "I'm sure. You know, Adam told me about you, years ago when we first met. He mentioned a girl he'd been trying to find, a blonde he'd spent one night with, said he'd never felt that way about anyone before or since." Olivia laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I made it my mission to help him get over that particular obsession." April's blood ran cold. "You helped him get over it?" "Well, the girl had clearly moved on, hadn't bothered to stay in touch. I convinced Adam that he was romanticizing one night, that it hadn't meant what he thought it meant. Eventually he moved on. He moved on with me." "Is that so?" "Oh yes, and we've been so happy. He's planning to propose soon, you know. Just waiting for the right moment." Olivia leaned closer. "So whatever ideas you might have about rekindling an old flame, I'd suggest you abandon them. Adam has a future now, and it's with me." Before April could respond, Olivia straightened and walked away, her heels clicking like gunshots on the marble floor. April's hands shook as she picked up the phone and texted Adam, "We need to talk, now." The response was immediate. "My office. 5 minutes." April told Brian she was taking a break and headed to Adam's office. She knocked once and entered without waiting. Adam looked up from his computer, surprised. "April, I thought we were meeting after—" "Did Olivia know about me? Back then, 7 years ago?" Adam's face went very still. "What? Did Olivia know you were looking for me?" Yes. She was my assistant back then. She helped me try to find you." "Why?" "Because she just told me that she helped you get over your obsession with me." Her words. "Adam, did you ever consider that Olivia might have been the one who sent that message?" Adam stared at her. "Olivia? But why would she?" "Because she wanted you for herself. She's been in love with you for years, hasn't she?" She's always been a good friend, a trusted colleague. But April, she wouldn't she? Think about it, Adam. She had access to your phone, your email, your contacts. She was there when you were looking for me. She could have easily intercepted my attempts to reach you, and she could have sent me that message making me think you didn't want me." Adam's face had gone pale. "If that's true, if she really did that, can you check? Can you find out?" "I hired a private investigator yesterday. He's looking into the message you received. But April, if Olivia did this, if she deliberately kept me from knowing about Rose for 7 years," his voice was shaking with barely controlled rage, "I need to be sure before I accuse her. I need proof." "Then get proof." "I will. I promise you, I will." There was a knock on the door. Olivia entered, her smile bright. "Adam, darling, the car is here for dinner. Are you ready?" Adam didn't look at her. "Cancel it. I have work to do." "But we've had these reservations for weeks." "Cancel it, Olivia." Olivia's smile faltered. "Adam, is something wrong?" "Not now, Olivia, please." Olivia looked between Adam and April, her expression hardening. "Of course. Whatever you say, darling." She left, but April could feel the fury radiating off her. "She knows I'm suspicious," April said quietly. "Let her know. If she's guilty, maybe she'll make a mistake." Over the next few days, April felt Olivia's eyes on her constantly. Every time she looked up, Olivia was watching from somewhere in the office, her expression cold and calculating. Meanwhile, Adam began spending time with Rose. April had explained carefully that Adam was a friend, someone who wanted to get to know them better. Rose, with the open heart of a 6-year-old, had accepted this easily. Adam picked them up after work one day and took them to dinner at a family restaurant. He'd clearly researched what 6-year-olds liked, because he suggested the place with the best chicken nuggets and the best ice cream sundaes. Rose was delighted. Watching Adam with Rose was bittersweet for April. He was so careful, so gentle. He asked Rose questions about her favorite colors, her favorite books, what she wanted to be when she grew up. He listened to every answer like it was the most important thing he'd ever heard. "I want to be an artist," Rose told him seriously. "I want to draw beautiful things and make people happy." "That's a wonderful dream," Adam said. "You know this company, the building where your mom works? We have a whole department that does art and design. Maybe someday I could show you." Rose's eyes lit up. "Really? That would be so cool." Later, as Adam walked them to April's car, he said quietly, "She's incredible, April. You've done an amazing job raising her." "I did my best." "You did better than that. She's smart, kind, creative, confident, that's all you. She asks about you, you know. Her father. She's too smart to believe you're just a friend. Then maybe it's time to tell her the truth." April looked at him in the fading light of the parking lot. "Are you sure you're ready for that? Once she knows there's no going back, she'll expect things from you. Time, attention, love. Can you give her that? With your schedule, your lifestyle, your girlfriend?" "Olivia isn't..." Adam stopped. "I'm handling that. And yes, April, I'm ready. I want Rose to know I'm her father. I want to be her father in every way that matters." "Okay," April said softly. "This weekend?" "I'll tell her this weekend." But they didn't make it to the weekend. On Thursday afternoon, Adam's private investigator came to the office. April saw him through the glass walls of Adam's office, saw him hand Adam a folder, saw Adam's face go from curious to shocked to coldly furious as he read. 20 minutes later, Adam emerged from his office with the folder in hand. His face was a mask of ice. He walked straight to Olivia's office without knocking. April couldn't hear what was said, but she saw Olivia's face through the glass, saw confusion turn to alarm, turn to panic, saw her shaking her head, reaching for Adam, saw him pull away. Then Adam left her office and made a call. 10 minutes later, 2 security guards arrived. They entered Olivia's office, spoke with her briefly, and then escorted her out. Olivia's face was tear-streaked, her perfect composure shattered. As she passed the reception desk, she looked at April with pure hatred. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You destroyed everything." "I didn't do anything," April said quietly. "You existed. That was enough." The guards pulled her toward the elevator. Just before the doors closed, Olivia screamed, "He'll never love you. He'll never forgive you for keeping his daughter from him. You're nothing but a poor nobody who trapped him with a baby." Then she was gone. The office was dead silent. Everyone had heard. April felt dozens of eyes on her, heard the whispers starting. Adam appeared at her desk. "Can you come to my office, please? Bring Rose." With shaking hands, April called down to the daycare. 10 minutes later, she and Rose were sitting in Adam's office. Rose looked nervous, sensing the tension. Adam sat on the edge of his desk, holding the folder from the investigator. "April, I found proof. Text records, call logs, deleted emails that were recovered from old servers. Olivia sent that message 7 years ago. She blocked your number on my phone. She intercepted your emails and deleted them before I could see them. She knew about your pregnancy. She deliberately kept us apart." April felt like she'd been punched. "Why?" "Because she wanted me. She's admitted through her lawyer that she's been in love with me for years. When I met you, when I couldn't stop talking about you, she saw you as a threat. So she eliminated the threat." 7 years, April whispered. 7 years of struggling, of being alone, of believing you didn't want us. Because of her. "I'm so sorry, April. I'm suing her, both civilly and criminally. She'll never work in this industry again, but I know that doesn't fix anything. Doesn't give us back those years." Rose had been quiet, but now she spoke up. "I don't understand. Who was that lady? And why did she keep Mommy from talking to someone?" Adam and April exchanged glances. This wasn't how April had wanted to tell Rose, but the moment was here. Adam knelt down in front of Rose, bringing himself to her eye level. Rose, that lady did something very bad. She kept your mommy from talking to me. She kept me from knowing something very, very important. What important thing? Adam took a deep breath. Rose, do you remember how you've always wanted to know about your daddy? Rose's eyes went wide. Yes. I'm your daddy, Rose. I'm the one with the blue eyes like yours. I'm the one your mommy tried to tell about you. But that bad lady made sure I never got the messages. So I didn't know about you. But I know now. And Rose, I am so, so happy you exist. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Rose stared at him, her little face processing this information. Then slowly, tears filled her eyes. Really? You're really my daddy? Really? And you didn't know about me? You didn't not want me? I never knew. If I had known, nothing could have kept me away. Not distance, not time, nothing. Rose launched herself at Adam, wrapping her small arms around his neck. I knew it was you. I knew it when I first saw you. You have my eyes. Adam held her, and April saw tears streaming down his face. You have my eyes, sweetheart. The most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. April was crying too, watching them, watching her daughter finally meet her father, watching 7 years of questions get answered. Rose pulled back, still holding Adam's shoulders. Are you going to stay now? Are you going to be my daddy forever? Forever and ever. I promise. Can I call you Daddy? I would love that more than anything in the world. Daddy, Rose said, testing the word. Then she smiled, huge and bright. Daddy! Adam laughed through his tears. That's me. That's who I am. I'm your daddy. Over the following weeks, life transformed for April and Rose. Adam was there constantly. He picked Rose up from daycare and took her to the park. He bought her the 64-pack of crayons she'd wanted. He read her bedtime stories over video call when he had to work late. He was learning to be a father, and he approached it with the same intensity he approached everything. He also insisted on helping April financially. She'd resisted at first, pride making her want to refuse. But Adam had pointed out gently that Rose was his daughter too, that he'd missed 7 years of providing for her, that he wanted to help. So April let him pay off her debts, let him move them out of the cramped apartment and into a safe, comfortable townhouse in a good neighborhood. Let him contribute to Rose's needs. It felt strange, after so long of struggling alone, to have help. But it also felt like maybe finally, things were going to be okay. Adam invited them to his mansion one Saturday. Rose was overwhelmed by the size of it, by the pool and the game room and the massive yard. But what she loved most was that Adam had set up an art studio just for her, with every supply a budding artist could want. This is all mine? Rose asked, eyes huge. All yours, sweetheart. Anytime you visit, you can come up here and create whatever you want. Rose hugged him tight. You're the best daddy ever. April watched from the doorway, her heart full and aching. She caught Adam's eye over Rose's head, and he mouthed, "Thank you." Later, after Rose had fallen asleep on the couch after a day of swimming and painting and exploring, Adam and April sat on the back terrace, looking at the lights of Denver below. "I've been thinking," Adam said quietly, "about us, about what happened, about what could happen. Adam, let me finish, please. I know you have every reason not to trust me. Even though Olivia was the one who caused all this, I'm still the one who wasn't there. I still missed 7 years of Rose's life. 7 years of your life, I can't fix that. No, you can't. But I want to try to build something new, not to recapture the past, but to create a future, for Rose, and for us." April looked at him. In the soft light, he looked younger, more vulnerable than his CEO persona. "Adam, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can risk my heart again. It nearly destroyed me the first time." "I know. And I'm not asking for an answer now. I'm just asking you to think about it, to consider that maybe after everything we deserve a second chance." It's not that simple. You have this whole life, this world of wealth and power. I'm a receptionist. I'm a single mom. We're from completely different worlds. You're the mother of my child. You're the woman I couldn't forget for 7 years. That means we're from the same world, the one that matters. And April, you're not just a receptionist. You're smart, capable, stronger than anyone I know. You raised an incredible child on your own with almost no resources. That takes more intelligence and strength than running a company. You're romanticizing things. Maybe, or maybe I'm finally seeing clearly for the first time in 7 years. Adam reached over and took her hand. I'm not asking you to fall in love with me. I'm not asking you to trust me completely. I'm just asking you not to close the door. Not yet. April looked at their joined hands. His was warm, callous despite his wealth, strong. She remembered those hands from 7 years ago, how gentle they'd been, how they'd made her feel safe and cherished and beautiful. Okay, she whispered. I won't close the door. But Adam, you have to understand. Rose comes first. Always. If this doesn't work out, if we try and fail, I can handle that. But she can't lose you again. She just got you. So if you're not absolutely certain, I'm certain. About Rose, I'm completely certain. She's my daughter and I love her. Nothing will change that. And about me? I'm certain about you too, April. I've been certain since the night we met. I just finally have the chance to prove it. They sat in comfortable silence, hands linked, watching the city lights twinkle below. Inside, Rose slept peacefully, safe and loved, her dreams probably filled with unicorns and castles, and a daddy who looked at her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Months passed. Adam became a fixture in their lives. He came to Rose's school events, her art shows, her play dates. He was learning to braid her hair, though his attempts were often crooked and lumpy. He was learning her favorite songs, her fears, her dreams. He was becoming her father in every way that mattered. And slowly, carefully, he was winning April's heart back. It started small. Coffee dates while Rose was at school. Long conversations about everything and nothing. Adam listening to April talk about her dreams of maybe going back to school, maybe studying business management. Him offering to pay for it, her refusing, them compromising on her taking online classes while continuing to work. Then bigger things. Adam asking April to be his date to a charity gala. April borrowing a dress from a friend and feeling like Cinderella for a night. Adam introducing her to business associates not as his receptionist but as April, someone very important to me. The first time he kissed her again was on a rainy Tuesday night. He'd come over for dinner, something he did 3 or 4 times a week now. Rose had gone to bed and they were cleaning up the kitchen together, moving around each other with the ease of practice. You have soap on your cheek, Adam said, smiling. Where? Here. He reached out to wipe it away, his thumb brushing her cheekbone. And then he was cupping her face, his eyes asking permission. April nodded, barely breathing. The kiss was soft, gentle, asking rather than demanding. It tasted like possibility. When they pulled apart, April was crying. I'm sorry, Adam said immediately. I shouldn't have. No, you should have. I wanted you to. It's just 7 years, Adam. 7 years I believed you didn't want me. I wanted you. I always wanted you. Every day for 7 years. Show me, April whispered. Show me this is real. So he did. Night after night, date after date, moment after moment, Adam showed April that he was serious, that he was committed, that he wasn't going anywhere. 6 months after their reunion, Adam asked April and Rose to move in with him. The townhouse he'd rented for them was nice, but his mansion had more space, better schools nearby, and a pool Rose loved. I want us to be a family, Adam said. A real family, under one roof. April had hesitated. Living together was a big step, but Rose's pleading eyes had won her over. Please, Mommy. I want to live with Daddy. I want us all to be together. So they moved in. April had her own room, at her insistence. Adam respected that, even though she could see he wanted more. But slowly, April found herself spending more time in Adam's room, falling asleep during movies and waking up in his arms. Staying for breakfast after Rose's nightmares had her crawling into her mother's bed, which happened to be Adam's bed more and more often. One night, 8 months after they'd reunited, April woke in Adam's bed, tangled in his sheets, his arm around her waist. She watched him sleep, this man who'd been a stranger, then a memory, then a possibility. And now what? "I can feel you thinking," Adam mumbled, eyes still closed. "Sorry." He opened his eyes, smiling sleepily. "What are you thinking about?" "About how weird life is. A year ago, I was facing eviction. Now I'm in a mansion, my daughter has her father, and I'm in bed with a billionaire. Not a billionaire, just a millionaire, let's not exaggerate." April laughed. "Oh, excuse me, just a millionaire." Adam pulled her closer. "Does it bother you? The money? Sometimes I feel like I don't belong in this world. You belong with me, and Rose belongs with me. That's all that matters. The rest is just stuff. Stuff that includes a mansion, multiple cars, and a private jet. Technically, I lease the jet." "Oh, well, that's completely relatable then." Adam laughed, kissing her forehead. "April, I love you. I've loved you since the night we met, even though I barely knew you. I love the memory of you for 7 years, and I love the reality of you even more. The money doesn't matter. You matter. Rose matters. This family we're building matters." April propped herself up on her elbow, looking down at him. "You love me? Is that surprising? I've been showing you for months. Showing and saying are different things." "Then let me say it clearly. I love you, April Lockhart. I love your strength, your determination, your fierce protection of our daughter. I love how you make me laugh, how you keep me grounded, how you see me as just Adam, not the CEO or the money. I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life proving it." "Adam, you don't have to say it back. Not until you're ready. I just wanted you to know." But April was ready. She'd been ready for a while, just too scared to admit it. "I love you too. God help me, I do. You infuriate me and terrify me and make me hope for things I thought I'd never have. But I love you." Adam's smile was brilliant. He pulled her down for a kiss that was deeper, more passionate than their previous gentle ones. A kiss that promised forever. "Marry me," he said when they broke apart. "What?" "Marry me. Not because of Rose, though I want her to have both parents officially. Not because of the money or security, though. I want to give you both those things. But because I love you, and I want you to be my wife. I want to wake up next to you every morning for the rest of my life. I want to grow old with you. I want more kids with you if you want that. I want everything, April. With you. That's not a proposal, that's a speech." Adam laughed, sitting up. He reached into his nightstand drawer and pulled out a small velvet box. "I've been carrying this around for 3 months, waiting for the right moment. Somehow, 2 a.m. in bed seems perfect." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, beautiful but not ostentatious. A single diamond on a platinum band, elegant and timeless. "April Lockhart, will you marry me?" April looked at the ring, at Adam's hopeful face, at the life they'd built from ashes and misunderstanding. She thought about Rose sleeping peacefully down the hall, finally whole with both parents. She thought about the girl she'd been 7 years ago, falling for a stranger in one perfect night. She thought about the woman she'd become, strengthened by struggle, opened by love. "Yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, I'll marry you." Adam slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her, deep and loving and full of promise. They made love then, slow and sweet, sealing their commitment with actions as well as words. In the morning, they told Rose. She'd been eating pancakes when they came down together, and something in their expressions made her pause, fork halfway to her mouth. "What?" she asked suspiciously. "Why are you both smiling like that?" We have some news, April said, sitting down next to her. Adam sat on her other side. What kind of news? Good news, Adam said. The best news. Your mom and I are getting married. Rose's face went through several expressions. Confusion, then understanding, then joy so pure it lit up the room. Really? Really? You're getting married and we're going to be a real family? We're already a real family, sweetheart, April said. But yes, we're making it official. Rose threw her arms around both of them, pulling them into an awkward but perfect three-way hug. This is the best day ever. Can I be in the wedding? Can I wear a fancy dress? Can I scatter flowers? You can do all of that, Adam promised. The wedding took place 6 months later, a small ceremony in the garden of Adam's mansion. Only close friends and family attended. Rose was the flower girl, wearing a pink dress she'd picked out herself, scattering rose petals with serious concentration. April wore a simple white dress, elegant and understated. She carried a bouquet of wildflowers. She'd never felt more beautiful than she did walking toward Adam, seeing the love and awe in his eyes. Hi, she said when she reached him. Hi, he replied, taking her hands. You're stunning. You're not so bad yourself. The ceremony was short. They'd written their own vows. Adam went first. April, 7 years ago, I met you for one night and lost you for what I thought was forever. But fate, or destiny, or just blind luck brought you back to me. And you brought Rose. The greatest gift I could ever receive. You both saved me from a life that was successful but empty. You filled my world with color and laughter and love. I promise to be worthy of you. To be the husband you deserve and the father Rose deserves. To wake up every day grateful for second chances. I love you, April. Today, tomorrow, and forever. April was crying. She wiped her eyes and began her own vows. Adam, you were my first love. Though I barely knew it at the time, you were my greatest heartbreak, though it wasn't your fault. And now you're my second chance at happiness. You've shown me what it means to have a partner, someone who shares the burdens and celebrates the joys. You've given our daughter a father who loves her unconditionally. You've given me a life I never dreamed possible. I promise to trust you, even when it's hard. To love you, even when we fight. To build this life with you day by day, moment by moment. I love you, Adam. Thank you for finding me again. The officiant pronounced them husband and wife. They kissed while Rose cheered and their small group of guests applauded. At the reception, Adam pulled April close for their first dance. Happy? He asked. So happy I'm afraid I'll wake up and it will all be a dream. It's not a dream, it's real. We're real. Rose ran up, tugging on Adam's sleeve. Daddy, can I dance too? Adam scooped her up, holding her between them as they swayed to the music. Rose giggled, safe in her parents' arms. Later, as the sun set over Denver, April stood on the terrace watching the city lights appear one by one. Adam came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. What are you thinking about? About how far we've come. About that girl who walked into this building almost 2 years ago, terrified and desperate. About how I never could have imagined this ending. It's not an ending. It's a beginning. You're right. April turned in his arms, looking up at him. It's a beginning, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Wherever it goes, we go together. You, me, and Rose. A family. A family, April agreed. They stood there, holding each other, as the stars came out above them. Inside, Rose was probably getting too much cake and staying up too late and making memories she'd treasure forever. The memory of the day her family became official. The day her parents promised forever. And in that moment, as Adam held her and the city sprawled below them and their daughter laughed inside, April felt something she hadn't felt in 7 long years. Complete peace. Total happiness. The certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be. She'd walked into that building for a job interview and found so much more. She'd found her lost love. She'd found her daughter's father. She'd found her family. She'd found home. And this time, no one would ever take it away. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this beautiful love story. Let us know what you thought of this tale full of emotions and surprises. Tell us your name, where you're watching from, and rate this story from 0 to 10 if it touched your heart. And if you enjoyed the plot, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the amazing new stories coming soon. See you next time.